I'm sure you've heard that we are facing potential changes to the capital gains tax discount on property. We've also got negative gearing in focus as well. Don't forget we've got a budget around the corner now. But all of this is really reigniting debate about what it could mean for prices, supply, and investor behavior. Let's unpack it with Drew Bowie. He's joining us from MA Financial. Drew, nice to see you. Thank you.
Good morning.
So for those who have not been hit over the head with this, what exactly is being proposed in terms of changes to the capital gains tax?
Well, like most investments, if you hold an investment within real estate, investors are entitled to a discount on the capital gains tax if they hold it for more than 12 months. The government is proposing to reduce that capital gains discount for property investors.
So the headlines scream that it will cause property investors to flee the market, prices to rise. Are those just inflammatory?
No, it's not inflammatory. Any reduction to the capital gains tax discount, which targeted to reduce the demand for investors and free up supply for home ownership, for owner-occupiers, will actually have a handbrake on the government's initiative to create additional supply. We all know that the government has strong, very high targets for housing supply to try and take the heat out of the market, try and reduce upward pressure on pricing, but it fails to consider how projects get off the ground in the first place, how supply is created. And investors are very important in creating supply into the market.
So you're saying that if they don't get this discount, that investors will be less inclined to come in at the beginning when these projects are being planned and sold?
12 months.
Sorry, 12 months.
What we're saying, if we think about how projects get off the ground, so if we take a 100 apartment dwelling project or 100 houses in a land subdivision, most developers and their financiers, their capital partners, will require a level of pre-sales before that project can commence. So if we say 100 projects, we might need 20 to 40 of those dwellings to be pre-sold before it starts. Now, it might take 24, 36 months before that project will be finished. So the demand for that 20 to 40 sales typically comes from investors. If those investors no longer want to buy, none of the 100 dwellings will actually be built. And so that will reduce the supply available for new homeowners.
And I'm consistently told, it's supply stupid. Like, that is the big problem here in Australia when it comes to soaring house prices, a shade being cast on the opportunity to own your own home as a young person in particular. Are you seeing any improvement in supply?
Small improvements. There are certain government initiatives that have sped up planning processes and the like, but it really just comes down to the viability of constructing these projects. Construction costs remain excessively high, possibly going to worsen now if shipping costs accelerate again as they did in COVID. So until we can bring down construction costs, until we can increase productivity in that market, we're going to see continued constraint of supply. And at the moment, the government is well behind in delivering on its supply numbers.
So what do you at MA Financial model in terms of these changes to CGT coming through? Do you think it's likely?
We don't predict what the governments may do. Predicting markets is very challenging. For that reason, we invest in owning in senior secured positions so that we can withstand any sort of policy changes or market influences that may come our way.
Now, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but Drew, is there any implication from this current crisis in the Middle East for private credit markets in particular? Now, I know that's a very broad question, but how are you discussing it there around the water cooler?
Well, the only thing predictable within crises is that they occur very frequently. COVID, SARS, oil crises, the current war, all these things happen surprisingly frequently. So For that reason, again, is why we decided to invest in the more defensive part of the capital stack, so that we can swim beneath the waves, if you like, so that we don't have to be getting the market exactly right in 2-3 years' time. Other people's capital, the equity or subordinated lenders' capital, will ride those waves and have far more volatility. Senior secured can take the heat out of those questions about where the market's heading.